Are you interested in hearing about a sweet, sugary love story? Then get ready, because today we're going to see a teenage girl's platonic crush on her brother's best friend blossom into the purest love over time. Yes, I know, it sounds pretty cliché, but every now and then we're blessed with rare gems that show a simple, healthy, comforting love without major complications. Is this one of those cases? Welcome to Cdrama Story, and today I'll tell you the story of the Cdrama Hidden Love. This story begins with Sang Zhi, who, despite not looking like it, is 14 years old. She's a great student, but one day she gets into trouble with a teacher at school. Afraid of getting scolded by her parents, she planned to ask her older brother for help, but she didn't expect to be greeted by the kind and brilliant Duan Jiaxu. And isn't the love between siblings wonderful? But these two are worse than cats and dogs, and the girl can't rely on her brother. So she turns to his best friend. Because of his calmer and warmer personality, Jiaxu is convinced by the girl's pleas and goes to the school pretending to be her older brother to talk to the principal. From that moment, the charm hits hard. Little Sang Zhi, who has never met someone so kind, is impressed and wants to be as cool as he is when she grows up, and she's on the right track. 2 years pass, and now, at 16 years old, she is an extremely cute teenager, even ready to help her brother move into his new dorm at college. But on this day, she's surprised to meet Jiaxu again. The crush returns instantly. He's still super caring, even letting her keep his plush fox. But I won't deny that this situation worried me quite a bit, right? Because we can't simply ignore that she's a minor, while he's already a 22-year-old university student. However, we can quickly calm down any discomfort because despite these two not spending a single episode apart from each other, it's clear that Jiaxu only sees her as his best friend's little sister. Someone he should feed well, help with homework, and walk to school. Sang Zhi continues living her idealized crush, even keeping a small bottle of milk that Jiaxu gave her, despite being lactose intolerant. Her new life dilemma is never missing a chance to be close to her crush. That's why she agrees to have lunch with her brother, knowing she would run into Jiaxu. Ever observant, Jiaxu understands why Sang Zhi feels uncomfortable after noticing her skirt stained with blood, and he does everything possible to be discreet and avoid embarrassing her. If two guys like them, struggling to buy sanitary pads, don't represent older brother behavior, I really don't know what would. He knows Sang Zhi is mortified with embarrassment, so he does everything to ease the tension. He offers warm water, separates food she's allergic to, and wins a stuffed toy from the claw machine, which will clearly end up in her growing collection of gifts given by Jiaxu. In the following days, they meet again, but this time it's unintentional. Sang Zhi is surprised to see Jiaxu working hard at the mall cafe, another one of his numerous part-time jobs he juggles with university. He's also there when Sang Zhi rejects a love confession from a schoolmate, advising her that she's too young to date. Reflecting on it, Sang Zhi starts noticing the care he shows for her, but at the same time she feels confused. Even though he's always there for her, being the first to help when she gets hurt at school and treating her with all the gentleness in the world, he also seems to be nice to everyone. So Sang Zhi begins to think she's not as special to him as she had imagined. But this thought is proven wrong the next time they meet when, unfortunately, Sang Zhi is bullied and robbed by girls from another school. It's Jiaxu who shows up to comfort her after that scary moment, holding her as if he wanted to protect her from all the evil in the world. For me, that was the moment when even Jiaxu recognized the genuine affection he was developing for her. He takes her home on the back of his bicycle, hoping the beautiful scenery of the woods will distract her a bit, and it works. It's on that day that Sang Zhi realizes she's fallen in love with Jiaxu. After turning this secret into a paper star, she keeps it in a special place, the small milk bottle. After the security gang goes to confront the bullies and protect our little girl, we can move on to the next phase. Despite being very smart, Sang Zhi struggles with physics. Her brother tries to teach her, but they can't last 2 minutes in peace, always ending up in a fight. So, a new private tutor is hired, and guess who it is? Jiaxu. If learning physics was hard before, imagine now with this distraction so close to her. Practically impossible, right? She could spend eternity just watching him. To spark her interest in the subject, Jiaxu takes her to the Science and Technology Museum, where the two of them, looking adorable, participate in interactive activities about the laws of physics, even though they were showcasing the laws of chemistry. But it's only when she gets home that Sang Zhi realizes her sketchbook was left with Jiaxu. This is pretty bad, because she filled the pages with drawings of him. Afraid her crush will be discovered, Sang Zhi goes deep into her fanfiction and makes up a story about having an older virtual boyfriend from another city. The more upset Jiaxu gets, the deeper she sinks into the lie. But showing the responsible and mature adult he is, Jiaxu tells her she can't date until she's grown, and she agrees. After all, she doesn't have a boyfriend. She's too busy secretly taking pictures of Jiaxu and getting caught red-handed. As Sang Zhi's grades improve, the tutoring sessions come to an end, but the two insist on staying close through gifts that warm our hearts. A few weeks later, it's college graduation day, and she's there to congratulate her brother. Of course, she's overjoyed to see Jiaxu, and her camera wouldn't miss a moment as cute as this one. That same night, Jiaxu is invited to sleep over at her brother's house, but when Sang Zhi notices something is troubling him, she decides to keep him company. He confesses that he's returning to his hometown because he got a good job and has difficult responsibilities to take care of there, like settling many debts. Seeing Jiaxu's sadness also saddens Sang Zhi, and without realizing it, she touches his heart again by promising to earn lots of money one day to help him. After watching him leave to live his own life, Sang Zhi spends months working toward her new dream, to get into the university where Jiaxu has moved. Until one day, she experiences great heartbreak when she overhears her brother saying that Jiaxu is dating someone. Besides spending days feeling very sad and thoughtful, Sang Zhi does something reckless. She travels alone to Jiaxu's city to find out if the story is true. And she's disappointed when he shows up at the airport with a woman, the supposed girlfriend. It breaks our hearts to see her tearful face. Even more so when she had to lie that she was there to meet her virtual boyfriend, but was rejected for being too young. Jiaxu's consolation doesn't help, because she only sees the harsh truth. He never saw her as more than a little sister. When she meets her brother, wow. It's a sad outpouring of tears, and he also seems completely broken to see his little protege like that. When she gets home, Sang Zhi puts away everything related to Jiaxu and says goodbye to her crush, ready to move on. 2 years pass, and now Sang Zhi is an adult who achieved her dream of getting into university to study digital media. After a roommate's birthday party, Sang Zhi's heart almost stops when she runs into Jiaxu there as well, looking more handsome than ever. He also seems surprised by the coincidence. Despite this, she doesn't get too excited, because after so many years apart, the first thing he does is call her kid out of pure habit. But this deeply irritates her. Every time he calls her that, and it's not rare, she makes sure to retort by calling him old man. Even so, he openly expresses his happiness knowing that she's now studying in the city, because now he wouldn't be alone anymore. She realizes that he didn't do anything to deserve her coldness, so she invites him to dinner. But when he cancels at the last minute, Sang Zhi notices the strange tone in his voice and rushes to his office, where she finds him pale and weak, needing to be taken to the hospital immediately. While she seemed like a grown-up woman, struggling to call a taxi, they accidentally bump into each other, which results in a little kiss on her forehead. They only break their magnetic gaze because the guy was in excruciating pain, and no wonder, he had acute appendicitis and needed emergency surgery. Despite his protests, Sang Zhi has no intention of leaving until he gets better, because she knew he would do the same for her if the situation were reversed. That's why she spends several nights by his side, often reversing the roles and being the adult who scolds him for working too much. She also repays all the care she once received, finally making Jiaxu realize how much she has grown. Legend has it that no sponge bath was ever as cute and intense as this one. She doesn't leave his side until he's discharged, taking him home and sticking notes all over the house to remind him of how he should live a healthier life. And it's these little things that start to touch his heart. Soon, the new year arrives, and Sang Zhi's friends plan to watch the countdown together. Knowing that she doesn't like crowded places, Jiaxu invites her for a quiet dinner. But suddenly, everything is ruined by this woman we barely know but already hate. She's been pursuing Jiaxu, and after constantly being ignored, she chooses that day to explode, simply throwing a glass of water at him. What really shocked me, though, was seeing Sang Zhi with that calm look on her face, returning the favor by soaking the crazy woman as well, standing up like a lioness to protect Jiaxu. In the end, the fight is broken up, and when everyone goes their separate ways, Sang Zhi is only concerned about warming him up as quickly as possible, drying his face with her own handkerchief. Given everything that happened, Jiaxu finally opens up and explains that the crazy woman is the person he owed money to. More specifically, she's the one his father owed money to. His past wasn't easy. His father caused a car accident that killed the girl's father and then tried to take his own life to avoid going to prison. As a result, he's been in a coma for 9 years, and Jiaxu's mother unfortunately passed away during this time from an illness. To compensate the victim's family, Jiaxu carried all the responsibility on his shoulders alone. Even though he worked hard and paid off all the debts, the girl wasn't satisfied. After venting and hearing how Sang Zhi supports him no matter what, the snow falls at just the right moment, making Jiaxu, for the first time, see the beautiful girl beside him as, in fact, a woman. And with each passing day, that warm feeling inside his chest only grows. However, the obsession of that crazy woman also grows day by day. And without knowing how to properly express how much he cares for Sang Zhi, Jiaxu accidentally makes her sad, causing her to feel like a burden because of a misunderstanding. Even during a fun night out with her friends, only one person occupies Sang Zhi's mind. And when that person hears her drunken voice in the blink of an eye, he shows up. Between comedy and romance, the mood becomes very tense at this moment, because while she commits the sin of throwing up on him and adorably can't stand up, the mood soon shifts. He carries Sang Zhi on his back and feels really sad when he hears her tearful lament, confessing that she likes someone a lot who doesn't like her back. What she doesn't know is that when she falls asleep in the car, he wishes he could be like the person she likes so much, to be the only one to take care of her and make her happy. After understanding the depth of his feelings, he's going to have to make up for lost time. This involves dealing with competition, because Sang Zhi is popular and has more tall guys confessing their love to her, dealing with jealousy in the most adorable ways possible, and he starts showing signs that he doesn't mind dating younger girls. The more time he spends with her, he finally suspects that maybe he's the one she likes. Excited by this idea, nothing can stop this man. To that end, he uses every tool at his disposal, like eating directly from her hand, gifting her a special and exclusive bracelet, and even hunting everywhere for a ticket on the same flight as hers, just so they can share a breakfast together and he can observe her up close. He practically melts because of Sang Zhi, and every day he becomes more enchanted by the beauty of that masterpiece. To clear up the misunderstandings that have piled up over the years, he invites her to lunch and introduces that woman from the past. You remember, the one from the airport? Who turns out to be none other than his boss, who is very happily married. Sang Zhi then realizes she misunderstood everything, and both she and Jiaxu feel instantly relieved. With this absolute success in the mission, with no further obstacles, he continues being the perfect prince every single second. Especially on Sang Zhi's birthday, when he prepares the most beautiful surprise. He decorated the terrace so nicely, and even made a lemon pie for them to blow out the candles. After lots of affection, Jiaxu makes his move. It's been long enough, and it's time to clearly say that he no longer wants to just be a brother to her, but her boyfriend. However, Sang Zhi now wants him to win her over like an adult, and if that's the case, all we can do is swoon over this beautiful stage of the drama as Jiaxu puts in his best efforts, using his most perfect lines and seductive looks to win over her heart. There are so many little romantic moments that I'm not even sure how to describe them perfectly for you. And after practically putting the man on a leash, Sang Zhi chooses his birthday to put an end to that endurance test. She waits for him to get off work and surprises him with lots of balloons and a cake. Even though he doesn't usually celebrate his birthday, Jiaxu is extremely happy to be taken to a beautifully decorated restaurant and to eat the delicious food that Sang Zhi herself prepared. But the happiness almost bursts out of his chest when his birthday wish comes true as he blows out the candle. Sang Zhi agrees to be his girlfriend. And then, we're treated to an overdose of love with their first kiss, marking this new phase, the first of many. Now that they're officially dating, they don't intend to spend a single second apart. Jiaxu takes this very seriously and combines business with pleasure. Since Sang Zhi still needs to study to graduate, he invites her to study in an appropriate place, like his room. All we can do is send strength to our girl, who tries to focus on her studies, but has a teasing boyfriend who's determined to share every square inch and bring a little excitement to their relationship. Afraid of having a heart attack with him so close, Sang Zhi dodges, but she decides she knows how to show him how much she likes him too. That's why, at their next date at the skating rink, she takes the first step and makes life harder for all the singles by flaunting their chemistry with more sweet kisses. When college break arrives, Sang Zhi convinces her family to let her stay in the city and work at an internship she landed. But of all the companies out there, she ends up at the one where the friend of that crazy woman who's been chasing Jiaxu is the boss. From the very first moment, our girl struggles, as the boss makes sure to make her professional life almost unbearable with so much work and rudeness. Fortunately, Sang Zhi has Jiaxu by her side, always supportive and attentive to the smallest details. That's why, when he notices that his girlfriend is having a tough time, he tries to make her life a little better, even if it means working extra hours and sleeping at the office just so he can pick her up and drop her off at work every day. They also need to recharge their energy together with hugs that could last forever and adorable dinners. After surviving all the boss's sabotage attempts, Sang Zhi understands why she's being mistreated when she sees the stalker cornering her once again. The girl has another obsessive outburst and tries to convince Sang Zhi that Jiaxu is a bad person because his father caused her father's death. Sang Zhi even feels a bit of empathy for the girl's pain, but in the end, she has to rub some maturity in her face, stating the obvious. Jiaxu is just as much a victim as she is. It wasn't him who committed the crime, but he ended up paying for it over the years, being emotionally blackmailed. When Sang Zhi finds her boyfriend, she can't help but feel even more protective, imagining how much he suffered. But finally, Jiaxu gets rid of that nuisance, securing a restraining order in case the girl comes near the person he loves. Now they can date in peace, right? Well, partly. There's still one obstacle. After suspecting that his sister was dating, her brother Sang Yan shows up by surprise and catches Sang Zhi hugging his best friend, Jiaxu. Sang Yan doesn't even try to hide that he's far from happy. He's a mix of upset, furious, and shocked by what he just witnessed. As soon as Sang Zhi is out of sight, forced to return to her dorm, Sang Yan vents his anger by punching Jiaxu. At first, he can't believe that, out of all the women in the world, his friend chose his little sister. But then he goes back to acting like an adult and has a civilized conversation. Despite being upset about the secret, he calms down because he knows Jiaxu and trusts that he would take great care of his sister. The real problem only arises when Sang Zhi sees the bruise on her boyfriend's handsome face and immediately understands what happened. She's ready to go and give her brother a piece of her mind. It's a pretty tense moment, seeing her so furious and disappointed at the same time. But, as always, even though they want to fight every 2 minutes, in the end, these two love each other and make up. Jiaxu loves even more the fact that he was so fiercely protected by his girlfriend. And even though the brother keeps making faces of disgust, Jiaxu will keep rubbing in how cute they are together. In the end, Sang Zhi has her brother's unconditional support, and she even cries when saying goodbye before he leaves to go back home. Deep down, Sang Yan is also super happy not to have lost his little sister. After growing more exhausted each day due to his work routine, Jiaxu simply rents a new apartment to be closer to Sang Zhi and makes it clear that the place is hers too. In no time, those two already look like newlyweds from a fairy tale. When the air conditioner in Sang Zhi's dorm breaks down, she spends the first night at the apartment, and as an appetizer, we're served plenty of cute cuddles. Then comes the main course. The tension that had been building for so long finally erupts, lighting a bonfire 5 meters high. The only certainty we have in this world is that they share many good times in that apartment. From charming goodnight cuddles to an entire fun day of an improvised camping trip in the living room. Sometime later, Sang Zhi successfully completes her internship, but before leaving, she advises her boss to help her friend by taking her to a good psychologist. With that, Sang Zhi leaves with a light heart to spend the rest of her vacation at her parents' house. Not being able to stay away from his cute girlfriend, as soon as he finishes an important project at work, Jiaxu also travels. For a few moments, we get carried away by the sweetness of their smiles and kisses, but in the end, there's always something to mess up the perfection. The next challenge they need to face comes from the prejudice of Sang Zhi's parents. Since she was little, they always pampered her, treating her like a porcelain doll that should be wrapped in cotton. When they find out that her boyfriend is Jiaxu, 5 years older and with a complicated past, they show an irritating prejudice. It's understandable to be concerned for their daughter, but thinking that Jiaxu would put her in difficult situations because of his family's past is just wrong. He ends up being blamed once again for his father's mistakes, which is extremely unfair. They say these hurtful things because they don't know how much Sang Zhi and Jiaxu love and support each other, no matter what. Even though he hides how much it hurt him, Jiaxu feels the pain, and Sang Zhi stands by his side, emphasizing how important he is to her. Heartbroken by her parents and thinking that Jiaxu might consider breaking up, Sang Zhi travels the next day. Once again, the airport becomes the place marked for tears. Sang Zhi tells Jiaxu the most precious secret she's kept for years. She confesses that she's liked him since the beginning of her youth and has always admired him, believing he's a great person. He's surprised by this revelation, and also gets emotional when she breaks down in tears, begging him to ignore what others think and stay with her forever. When they get home, Jiaxu pours out his feelings, saying that he will make up for all the love she's kept inside for years, and that he will never let her regret choosing him. He declares his love for her, and we're overwhelmed with love by the most intimate and profound moment they share. After many long years in a coma, Jiaxu's father takes a significant turn for the worse and peacefully passes away after feeling his son's forgiveness. During all the years Jiaxu faced countless difficulties, he always pretended to be strong. But when he finds Sang Zhi offering a hug without saying a word, he finally allows himself to cry and be vulnerable. Realizing that he's getting older, because his parents are no longer there, hits us right in the heart as we watch the two cry together, especially when they visit his mother's grave. There, Sang Zhi helps Jiaxu realize that he deserves to be loved and that, at last, he is being protected as he always wished and will never be left alone again. After spending a few days reflecting, Jiaxu makes an important decision. He decides to quit his job and return to Sang Zhi's hometown, where he will start his own game development business and work hard to build a new life there. This way, when Sang Zhi graduates, she will return too, and the two will build a future together. After all, he's going where she wants to be, because she is his true home, where he feels comfortable and loved. The two share a final, passionate, butterfly-inducing moment in the apartment before saying their goodbyes. But for those who truly love each other, time and distance are not obstacles too difficult to overcome. Jiaxu starts his new company, gains the support and approval of Sang Zhi's parents, and occasionally travels to surprise her with incredibly sweet gestures. All they need now is to be happy full-time, and that moment finally arrives. After 2 years, our girl finally graduates from college and celebrates with friends by the sea. But the highlight of the day comes when Jiaxu, with the help of her friends and even Sang Zhi's family, prepares the perfect setting to once again declare how much he loves her and how she's been the warm ray of sunshine in his winter days. After being the last true romantic in the world, Jiaxu makes the most charming and enchanting marriage proposal anyone could receive. With teary eyes, it is right there that the two begin the new chapter of their love story. Now they will no longer be alone. They have each other to lean on. She healed the wounds of his youth, and he allowed her to experience her first love. Their story began when he was 22, and we say goodbye when she is 22.